Hi, Carly.
Hey,
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I'm always excited to chat with you because it feels like I'm getting ready to talk to a girlfriend that I've known for many years. And it often feels like that, especially after listening to your new project 29, which is incredible. I feel like we've already chatted about everything.
I mean, I really didn't leave much for the imagination on that one.
No, it was it's all very literal, which I was actually surprised listening to for the first time because I wasn't sure if you were going to be as literal this time or you were going to be a little bit more I don't know, artistic about what you were saying, but I actually loved the raw honesty that is 29.
I just don't know how to not be honest. Even in the midst of public horrific things that I had to go through. And I have built my career so far on being authentic and being real and being honest and writing from my heart. And I feel like I decided when I was approaching this music that fans would be able to tell if I was trying to over like just overgeneralize things. And so I decided do what you do and don't shy away from it. And that's why I chose to do that.
And it was a good choice. Obviously, 29 was a year of growth, pain, love, learning, all that stuff. So, why don't we start with Busby and how the experience was without him for the first time? Because that was also part of it.
Yeah, it was difficult for sure. I mean, he was the only person that I had ever worked with, and it was super emotional that first day because a lot of the musicians in the room even knew me through Busby, and they knew the weight of what this moment was for me of kind of moving on and going on with my career and my life. And I think what's been so awesome about it is Shane McAnally and Josh Osborne, who produced this record and wrote a lot of the songs with me, they love 90s female country just like I do. And Busby was a pop producer from the Bay Area in California. And I just think that there are common threads between people who are passionate about the same music for years and years and years that you can't kind of like recreate. I often say I think he and Maren Morris bonded so much because they came from an R&B world. And he and I, not that we didn't relate. I mean, obviously we did and we had hits together, but I just think I feel more understood now as a whole artist with these two because we come from the same world.
Okay, what a great experience though for you to have gone through that, and now you're obviously growing as an artist. And so, well, how else have you evolved over the last year in doing those things?
Oh gosh, I think just being brave enough to step out and go after new music and kind of, I had just put an album out in February of last year and I just didn't identify anymore with this album on so many levels and wanted the last song that Busby and I ever worked on to be I Hope You're Happy Now. And that felt like the right chapter to close it. And I just dug into music and I dug deep. And I think because of all of these things, I'm seeing the benefits of it because I just hunkered down in the midst of there were moments I didn't think I could take a breath. And I just pushed through and I did what I always do, which is turn to country music. And I feel like now I can show people you can feel like you're literally dying. And you can hear in my songs on this project, I literally thought I was dying. And you can come out on the other side better. And that's what it's all about.
As a fan or a listener of your music, it's always interesting because we get the finished product and then we get to talk to you about it after the fact. But this being such an honest record, what was the feeling? Like, were there any nerves or anxiety there the second you finished it all and you're like, wow, this is me on a plate and I'm just going to put it out there for everyone? That must be intense.
It's intense for sure, but it's no different than when I put every little thing out and knew that the guy was going to know I was singing about him, or when I put I Hope You're Happy Now out and I knew that guy was going to listen to that, because those are just as honest. What's different now is everybody knows who these songs are about. So that's, that's the different piece of this is that people know what I lived and what I went through. And I'm not saying word for word. I'm not bashing anybody. I'm just writing from my perspective. But I think that's, people automatically are like, oh my gosh, this feels so intense. And it's like, it's really, I mean, it's not, because it's just what I do. I think it's a layer deeper, obviously, but it's still like the same girl doing the same thing that she's always done.
So I guess that's how you know that you're really being true to yourself in what you're doing and how you're doing it, if it just feels like another day to you.
And I mean, don't get me wrong. I think I've like taken a little bit of the veil off for my followers, and really shown the parts of me that haven't been okay at times. And I think that's humanized me in a way that I was afraid of at first, but I think it's made me closer to them, and made them feel like I'm one of them and that I walk the same walks that they do, which I totally do, because I'm just a girl with a microphone. That's the only difference. And it's been cool to watch that kind of happen.
You sing a lot in this particular set of songs. Like, you sing a lot about where you want to be in life and the pressure that you sort of put on yourself for the expectation of where you should be and where you want to be. And so for you, are you where you want to be at this point?
I think I'm right where I'm supposed to be. I'll tell you that. I think that obviously life throws us some things that we really weren't expecting. And that's kind of what 29 is about. And in the midst of that, I think you have to make a decision. And yes, my story is my story, but I think everybody can relate to this music, because you have moments of that in whatever way that is. And you have to make a decision. Am I going to let it define me, or am I going to let it refine me? And I have chosen to deal with the shame that I had, deal with the embarrassment, deal with the heartbreak and the shock of it all, and know that it was all supposed to happen. Honestly, I think it was supposed to happen for me to make other people feel like they're going to be okay too. And that's the powerful thing, that because I have this microphone, like, oh my gosh, I can make somebody else feel worthy, and that what it wasn't their fault. That is like human connection. And to me, that's like what we were put on this earth to do. That's like living the way Jesus wants us to live.
That's very cool. So it's almost like, your mission through music is to try to explain to people that, listen, this happens to everybody. I've been through it, and this is how you can get through it. And also maybe avoid making certain mistakes.
2 minutes.
Absolutely. I think that you have to just make a decision in your life, how you're going to react. And for me, I at first felt a lot of shame, and now I've like found a deeper purpose as a human, and that's pretty like fulfilling. That's really what I care about doing, is making a difference.
It's been really nice to watch you get yourself out of this whole thing, and the way that you've done it with real class and grace, and you've really carried yourself through it, because it's not an easy thing. And then you put these songs together, and that's sort of where we have the real conversation through your music. And Next Girl climbing the charts, inside the top 40 here in Canada. Very quickly before we go, can you talk a little bit about the cheekiness of that song, because I actually really love how you did that.
That song is one of my favorite songs I've ever written. Much like I'm talking about these 90s women, I think they had a way of like mixing cheeky with anthems, with awesome grooves, with meat. And I wanted one of those. And we started talking about Patty Loveless, and I had the idea of Next Girl. And I actually heard it as a letter to the next girl, which of course I would, because I'm Carly Pearce, who sings sad songs. And Shane McAnally was like, wait a minute, you keep talking about all these anthems that you love. Let's do one. And it just like wrote itself. And it's so fun because it says so much. I mean, it's a powerful lyric, but it's fun. And I hope that when people listen to it, when girls listen to it, if they're going through pain, they can just turn it up and like forget about it for a minute, because that's what I wanted.
Yes. And that is so, like, we had so much of that in the 90s, and we don't have that anymore. And it's great to be sad and be in the moment with a sad song when you're feeling that. But there's nothing like hearing a song that knows you're sad, but picks you up right away.
Yes. I wanted girls to be able to just like turn it up and feel good.
Well, mission accomplished. It's fantastic. I actually really liked Liability as well. I wrote that one down, one of my favorites. So thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us about 29, your new album. So excited. If you haven't had a listen, you need to. The songs are real, the songs are gritty. And very quickly, they say the best way to mend a broken heart is to be successful. What do you say?
The best way to mend a broken heart is to understand you're going through it for a reason, and that you'll understand one day why.
Awesome. Well, you take care of yourself, Carly. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we love chatting with you all the time.
Thank you.